Okay. The rule in one wall, as you know, is if the man in front is standing perfectly still, that's the essence of the one wall game. But at the last moment, Joe takes a calculated risk of allowing the ball to come close to his body. If then he sees it might hit him, he just moves slightly. The referee correctly picked up that little movement and called the block. The contest, as I said, hasn't really begun. Joe is starting to show a little glisten on his shoulders. I think he's coming to a point where he's going to rev up. And even though he's a big ham and wants to stay on the court, I think he wants to win the championship first.
He has a blister on his tongue, too, right now.
Can I get a copy?
Did he help you in any way?
I just want to make sure you're all right.
I want to get... Matthew. I want to introduce you to the author of that piece from Sports Illustrated.
I love your piece.
So why don't you ask him a few questions? You want to make some commentary as the game goes on? No, I mean from your
No, that was a great
point.
piece. It was complex, ambivalent. It had a lot of innuendo, and you got a lot of mileage for
I know what
the
song
language.
you can play.
I like
I will
What do you
know.
got there?
You see,
Here in the presence of expertise, though.
you know what's going to drive the crowd wild now? All I have to do is make believe I'm going to make another announcement, and they're going to do the wave, and they'll hope I'll be carried away with it. I know that. You know
Hey,
that.
Max, better late than never. Better like that one, huh?
Are you on? Yeah, I got you. Ladies and gentlemen, what you're seeing now to the side, you'll have to use your mind's eye, is the great Hall of Famer Steve Sandler giving some advice to Albert Apuzzi. The same thing happened in the early 60s, where the score was 18 up in the finals against Oscar Obert. And lo and behold, the wizened old guru, Mo Ornstein, came out during a timeout, put his arm around Sandler's shoulder, and tried to tell him what was the appropriate shot at that time. Precisely that is happening now. Will there be the same result? The result the first time around was Oscar getting back on the court and winning 21-18. You see, what happened was they spent the whole game trying to figure out what the other guy was doing and what they were trying to do, and then a third party came in with a new piece of information for the computer and completely scrambled his brain. Now what you saw was precisely the same thing. The man is well-intentioned, but at this point he should not intrude into the psyche of the athlete who's trying to get it all together. Let's see what happens. I think I know what's going to happen.
Isaiah, what are you going to do? States? States like it ain't there.
Isn't that beautiful? Oh, man.
Get against the wall with it.
This is...
What do you care?
What's your
Unbelievable.
Your attitude's very bad.
You wouldn't know when they're ready to stop.
Your attitude is very bad.
It must be very frustrating if we're nice enough to see a guy lose because he's not
I'm the
adapting
director of
to
Pine
something.
Hill.
Yeah. Well,
He's probably seeing them probably saying fire out there. Like,
True.
over.
And there's only so much the player himself can do. What you bring to the game is all you have. And for somebody to say, do this, what I used to do, is completely unproductive. You see?
Yeah, as you point out, though, Ruby, it's character that seems to be reflected in the styles of these players. I mean, that's his character. That's what he can do.
Keep in mind the glisten on Joe's back. You see that?
Yeah.
That's what I was talking about before. It's now at this
We're
juncture.
starting to see it.
Yeah, he's starting to pump up now. As you notice, there's a little bit of refuse on the front court. That kill shot actually hit a little matchstick and made the ball go down. Had that not been there, Joe was in a position, actually, and he has done it in the past, to retrieve those shots.
Really? He could have got that?
Yeah, a little matchstick there made it go down instead of coming through. Okay, did you see what happened then?
Well, I couldn't get that shot. Could I ask you to move back a little more?
The same change of pace push shot that I mentioned in all the tournaments past.
Right.
Where instead of directing the ball at the same speed he always did, he tried to use an off-speed shot, which is not within his repertoire. Okay, that was typically a frustration shot. He never used that shot in his whole life.
That's not a good left hand,
No.
and his body wasn't in position.
And when fatigue sets in, your eyes perceive the ball incorrectly, your body is in a confused motion, and that is the worst type of shot to take at that point. Look at that, that was a beautiful pickup. Joe now sees his... It was good.
He did that to Albert about 5 times now. He put the ball on the right-hand side after keeping him on the left.
Did he get the point?
I think so.
Okay.
He's still up, he must.
He rightfully got the point. Okay. Joe is taking another timeout now.
From back there, Albert should call it.
Okay, I'm going to stop for a moment.
Okay. See, I can't with the play that unfair for them. And you notice the guy with the blocked car was getting and it's still my fault. He's running. Now, we're working on the
best team you ever seen, right?
Without eyes.
It's has to do with
He understood what I meant. Your friend understood my remark.
and you gave me the inspiration. Somebody called the mayor of and it makes for a panorama.
13, playing 8.
You like it? What was the one they had, something at Greenwich Village? Oh, yes.
8, playing 13.
Fight. That's pretty wide, huh?
Fun.
9, playing
They just gave
13.
me the actors who were involved. I think it might have been Al Pacino and Fight. Yeah.
Good shot.
I'm usually
Quiet.
Amazing.
Get in
That's all right. He knows all about it.
I know now.
In my opinion, even though Albert won that volley, I think it took a tremendous toll out of him. Now that he has the serve, he's going to be under even more pressure to try and get back into this game. But remember, as I said earlier, when you come to that 13-14 point, you'll see what happens, that one man will have it and the other man won't. As a matter of fact, this timeout by Albert is actually a blessing for Joe. Joe is regrouping back there. Albert took the timeout, which means Joe will have one more in reserve, which I don't even think he's going to need in this game. He's just in tremendous condition.
Playing 13.
He senses now that the denouement is at hand, and he's going to be in position to do his thing.
Outside.
That was a wonderful move by Albert. He took a calculated risk.
Don't go there.
These walls aren't the straightest and the most level, and the wall near the line, the sideline, tends to veer off to the side.
Constantly bad.
That particular shot you just saw should have been the pattern that Albert should have established in the first game and the early part of this game. But Joe will neutralize the next effort, I think. That was an excellent serve. He switched it off. See, Joe has such great lateral mobility that maybe sometimes you handcuff him by putting it right at his feet. But it takes an enormous amount of strength, and I don't think Albert has enough reserve to keep that type of play up.
Out.
Notice the way that Joe came after that ball. He actually hovered over Albert, showing him that he was superior there, and he gave a little extra thrust to show him who was the boss.
You know, on that high second serve, he seemed to be ceding Joe the point. I mean, that was the worst
He was
serve he could
worried
do.
about serving it off the court, so he played it safe.
Okay, Albert is an official of this game. What he's doing now should have been done before. I don't want to interpret this as an additional timeout, but from my lore of the game, I would suggest that this is just another mini timeout. It's called a freebie. The particular matter now being taken care of, he knowing the rules and making some comment about it yesterday, I'm really surprised that he's doing that now.
Well, perhaps he was trying to get an edge. He's tired.
Yeah. Perhaps too that he's just trying to get enough clearance so he can whack the ball.
He's
But from that
expecting to spend a lot of time back there. I know
from that position out there, it's going to be pretty tough. Joe is out to punish him now. Remember before I said as he warms up that it's going to be the key play?
Yeah. There it is to the left, over and over and over again.
Good ball short.
On the outside.
Joe should say that bothered him. Joe should say he stopped.
Can't help though.
See, if I were Joe at that point, I would say the call of the guy saying short stopped me from making my move.
12 playing 15.
Uses his head a little more as well.
That was a beautiful shot. Again, it was a very low percentage shot.
Well, I was about to say he's got to kill that ball.
And Albert knows that if he doesn't do it now, he's going to be in serious trouble. That was a nice switch.
Oh yeah. Good. Got plenty of time to do it.
Okay.
Now,
Now,
isn't Albert a better doubles player?
14
No.
playing
No?
15.
Because
okay. Remember before I said?
Yeah.
That was under the wall. Didn't I tell you the action takes place at the 14th point? There we go. Now Joe is completely convinced he has to dominate. That might have been Albert's last hurrah so far as air in the lungs. But he's a game competitor.
Playing
And if
14.
Joe lets up on his side of the equation, anything can happen.
You notice that Joe was playing the ball very safe.
Yes.
That was a wonderful retrieve by Joe, an excellent switch by Albert, but he just happened to hit the ball out slightly.
Joe was very
Again, that's not a really good percentage shot at this point of the game when you're tired, but he knew he had to do something, so he took a chance. He almost got away with it. Okay. It's going to be interesting to find out after this game is over what it was that Steve Sandler actually said to Albert.
Did we ask him? Could we bring
We'll do
him
that afterwards. And whether or not Albert told him to bug off. That's the miss.
Now, I have the idea Joe is not making, or is not trying to make these spectacular shots that we all know he can make. He's playing a very conservative game, and he seems to feel as if he can out-volley him, he can keep the ball at him and out-volley him, and he doesn't want to take any chances.
You can only make a spectacular shot if your opponent allows you to put you in a position to make a spectacular shot. If your side of the equation isn't providing the circumstances for you to do that, Joe won't do it.
Right.
He'll take the course that, hey,
So he'll take the percentage shot. He will not
that's what
go
he,
after the,
precisely what he's doing. You see, and that's because the score is fairly close. He's still a little concerned about the 11-point tiebreaker, which is an innovation this year's tournament. He doesn't like it at all, and I don't blame him.
Well, I mean, anybody can beat anybody else for 11
No,
points.
he wrote an article on the subject of the 11-point tiebreak. He says he should have endurance.
One of the spectators
The
said
match
that
should be a full 2 out of 3.
since
All-
Albert is
all
on the
games
committee,
21
he might have been the one who made this seriously. That's what the talk is in the shop here.
I think that's correct, actually.
This is folly for Albert to try and volley. Absolute folly. Whoops. I don't know what Joe had in mind there.
I think he knows he's not making shots he
Fourth
normally
team
makes.
playing
That's the way he
middle
looks.
team.
Okay. That was an excellent shot. Notice what Joe's trying to do. He's trying to show Albert, by the way he returns the ball, that Albert is no threat at all.
Yeah, right.
He's just pushing the ball back, daring him to do that.
He seems almost idly contemptuous about it.
See, Albert senses too that when Joe does that number on him, that Joe is the dominant personality, and that feeds on him. He may make the first one, but Joe will come in and make sure he doesn't make the second one. Albert's going to have to do a lot more than just try and toss a little shot in. Okay. This is a wonderful, wonderful match because there is still a question mark as to what could happen. I think I know the outcome, but who knows? It's a wonderfully competitive match.
Come on, the ball is out, Danny, please. Danny, I appeal that, please. It was out. Don't let him win that. Come on.
I think Maroney saw it out also. That's why he's asking the officials. Danny Maroney called it out. Well, this is one of those elements in the equation that I mentioned before. But remember, I also said when he gets upset, he plays better.
The right thing is to allow.
Let's see what happens.
The lineman to make the call. The lineman had said he wasn't sure, then the referee could overrule anybody. Once the call is made, it's a good ball.
No, that's not true. That's only if it's obvious, then the other decision takes place. But that was close enough to give him the advantage.
Absolutely. I know it was.
Okay, we're getting ready to play again. Let's see how Joe responds to this latest setback. Okay. See how he hit that ball? He would have had Albert down, but
no
Maroney correctly called in the ball because it was in the line of his sight. And what have you here?
He took a point away.
No, he didn't. He said he's going to take a point away.
When is he going to do that?
This unfortunately is what's called baiting. They know Joe is volatile, and sometimes they put referees in there who they know don't like him. They know he'll get upset, and they think that they'll be able to throw him out of the game. Joe told me personally that he wasn't going to let those things bother him. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that magnificent? Albert made a great shot there. Typically in the past, Albert would plunge in headlong and try and make that shot. This time he ran in and he made the shot himself.
Play the game. You don't talk to me, you talk to me. I apologize.
See, Joe is on a whole new tack. Never in his life did he say, I apologize. Don't think he meant it, but he's very smart and calculating now. He's going to try and put the crunch on this. There it is. Isn't that amazing? He's been upset 3 times in the match, and each time he's come back playing even harder and playing even better. That is extraordinary. And now at point game with the momentum. How you doing?
That way.
Nice to see you again. How have you been?
I was on the bus.
Seems like only yesterday that I saw you.
I was on the bus.
Yeah? What did you see on the bus? Anything interesting?
Did you see me on the bus there?
That bus over there?
I was over there on the bus.
Was the driver a nice man? He was a nice man? Well, that's important. Did you sit down the whole time? You weren't standing there, were you? You got to sit down when you're on the bus.
No, you have the timer. You have the timer.
I'm always here.
Those days, one's a lefty, one's a righty. So
Okay, it's always nice seeing you.
still take. Oh, is it? Is there a telephone? I could do it right from this corner.
Okay, here we go. The score. 8 plays 8.
I'll just take one picture. And then just hit the other one.
Halfway, a green light will come on, then you snap. Hold it down halfway.
That's too loud.
Okay, kids. Score is 8-9.
Yeah, they're my size. What?
Come alongside my body.
10 plays 8.
I'll just give it.
8 plays 10.
Come on, let's go.
Nine, 10. Hold it now. Score. 10-10.
Albert. 11-10. 11-10. Dori, try one. Search all left.
How did you do?
He's playing better. Much better than Getty's good at that center.
Yeah.
Stay over here because you're only going to interfere.
All right, Dori, let's go now. Anybody got any ice?
He is doing the same thing.
I need 2 5 and 5 6.
Yeah, I thought where's that? Go away.
I say no, you're going to have to move away from this because you're hitting me.
Hey, that's a nice shirt. Nice shirt.
Thank you. Enjoying yourself? I'm going behind the scenes.
He's calling the short line over
You want it?
Okay, now that's it. Sit over there. You keep on hitting it. Sit.
Don't throw it away now.
Great! Off balance, too.
She didn't give up on it.